4, 3, 2, 1.
And it's live.
This is Leicester Till I Die TV. Watch and subscribe on YouTube and listen on your podcast platform.
Good evening, everybody. How the devil are we? I say good evening. It's better than yesterday evening. At least we've not got to watch Leicester. This is, well, call it a review. I don't know what else we can call it. And I'm welcome to invite Jim. You will all know from the watch-alongs on a Saturday, looking extremely beautiful in his yellow shirt there, which has a story behind it. I mean, no, you don't look beautiful, but the story is beautiful.
I saw Chris behind it when we were in the green room with his retro shirt on. This was actually given to my wife after Leicester played a friendly back in '98 here in Jacksonville. And we went to a pub afterwards, and she kept saying to Steve Guppy, he had, I think, a goal and 2 assists in the match. And she kept saying, Steve, I'd love that shirt. And a lot of the players had given away their shirts in the stadium, but he still had his on. The whole team was in this pub with the local Jacksonville semi-pro team. And Bev says, Steve, can I have that shirt? And he says, I have nothing on underneath it. So I thought a little quickly and went up to the bar manager, and they sold some polo shirts with the bar name on it. So I got his size, bought one, gave it to him. He took it right off there. So we've got it as our memorabilia of, and you can see on the back, it's even a Steve Guppy.
Oh, wow, yes.
Yeah,
yes,
so he wore it after the game. So that's one of the long time ones. Since I saw you in yellow, I thought it'd be a football friend.
I tell you what, Steve Guppy, one of my favourite players. What a player! That was when we had the team. Look, I don't know what to say about last night. I think we're going to start with I say highlights. The shortened highlights are literally 2 minutes long. Let's just take a look. I think it's basically just the goals. So let's have a look at that.
Ball into Moore, laid off to Rathbone, edge of the area, left side. He's unleashed a shot that Stelarczyk has pushed away, and Ben Nelson on hand to complete the clearance, and then Nelson with a block as she took strike from the edge of the area, and that's a brilliant ball by Fatawu, and Mavididi, it's 2-on-2. Mavididi approaching the penalty area, going on his left foot. Steffi Mavididi, a shot saved at the near post by...
I just want to stop it there, because this is what I say about Mavididi and Fatawu. Ayew was unmarked. He had made the move. I mean, fair play to him. We say about Ayew, and we're going to be looking at him in more detail later with yourself. But he's bust a gut to keep up there with him. He's open. All right, maybe there's a couple of Wrexham players between Mavididi and him. Why did he have a shot from what was, let's be honest, a reasonably tight angle when Ayew was there and had done well? Because he'd been caught up by the Wrexham defender, but then he'd left the Wrexham defender behind.
No, and that's unfortunately what we've seen from our wingers. They haven't been able to put the ball in the box for whether it be Ayew or late in the game when Daka comes in. They haven't been able to serve it up. And you're right, he had his head down and he didn't look to play it. I mean, even if Ayew would have got an opportunity, you never know what would have happened. But great point, Chris. Great point.
I'm not saying he would have scored. I'm not even saying he would have got the ball. The question I'm going to ask you is, you said they're not being able to or not wanted to. Because the more I look at Fatawu and the more I look at Mavididi, it's all about them rather than the team.
That may be true. I mean, I don't want to sit here and get inside their heads. I don't think we really know. What we do know is what we see on the field. Like Fatawu, I think with Fatawu, I think with him scoring those worldly goals, the curls that he takes off his left foot and puts in, or that half the field one he put in, I think it might have gone to his head. Mavididi is just in a funk. He's just in a funk, and it could be, like you said, it just be all about them. But I don't know. When you got the chance, they're just not serving the ball up to get it in there for somebody, even if it goes through the middle and somebody's on the back post. They're just not doing it.
No. Put it in the box. You don't know that it may have hit one of the Wrexham defenders and gone in.
Yep.
But yeah. I just think we've got two wingers that we know have got the talent. They're probably not as prolific as they were a couple of seasons ago, but they just seem to want to, it's glory for them rather than sort of, helping the team. But I just wanted to say that. Let's move on.
After a conquer, Leicester winning their first quarter of the game. What a blistering counter-attack for
Ayew there.
Super ball, and Mavididi carrying it into the
Cuts
box.
across, so he's gone behind the defender now, and he's on his own.
With a wonderful save to keep Leicester in the game, and then Mavididi nearly gave them the lead.
Even just played it in front of
Premier
their
League title win.
Yeah.
Injury restricted his appearances for the Foxes during a 9-year spell with the club. Here's Kakachi's got the wrong side of Ricardo, and across the goal, another great save, Stelarczyk, but the rebound will be slammed into the net from Lewis O'Brien, and this stadium has lift off now. Stelarczyk with a great point-blank save to deny the first effort, but when it came to Lewis O'Brien, left-footed, he's lifted it over Stelarczyk into the roof of the net. First goal since the end of September, his fourth of the season. And finally, deadlock is broken.
Again, a couple of points on that. To me, that says everything about Ricardo.
He was left. The player he was supposed to be marking left him behind, and he just looked pathetic.
Yeah, no, Prashant, carry on, by the way. He was left behind, and look, we all love him. He's been one of the best right backs we've ever had. International. But as we've all been saying, I think he's being picked because what's the alternative? Because I don't think Hamza's got the passion, but again, I don't think he's necessarily got the pace for that. Because the wingers look at our two wingers, or our two right and left backs, and they know that they can outdo them for pace. Now, Aluko, I'm not sure sort of how fast he is, but I'm sure he'd be faster than Ricardo at the moment because of the age. And then, so Ricardo's sort of completely caught out. It's not as bad. Well, it's almost as bad as when we had James Justin playing right back for a season when he obviously wasn't. But I want to talk about Stelarczyk. It's wet. It's raining. It was awful weather. This is England. It's always going to be awful weather in England. Yeah. It's a winter game that we play. At Seagrave, we've got a load of different pitches. Some of them are set up as hard pitches. Some of them are soft. Some of them are specifically to be wetted, to be made wet. So to give that. So they've got no excuse about the weather was bad or whatever. Stelarczyk should have held on to that ball, or at least tried to put it into an area where there was nobody following in. I just think, again, another player that needs to be taken out of the spotlight.
Yeah, we talked about that on the post-match. I think he needs a break. Certainly, you hit it. The weather conditions, the way that play broke down, focused on the first save, the ball comes off, and Tom or Brad probably would be better to explain that than you and I. But he's got to make that play, and at least if the rebound comes out, clear it, because that ball just sat right there as just an open duck ready for somebody to just put in. But I think his overall play, some of the way he brings the ball back out and the way he has played the last 2 games, he needs a break. I think we all said that. Yes,
yeah. I am worried with a couple of these players that, similarly to when Brendan was in charge in the last season, it's a case of, doesn't matter how bad I play, I know I'm going to be picked for the next game.
Now's the time. Now's the time to make that call, set that precedent. I know a lot of us fans have been waiting for that for a long time, but when the play comes down like that, it's time for him to take a break. And Begovic is not bad. He's not a bad replacement. It's not like you're bringing Danny Ward off the bench, right?
Oh, don't. Oh, I felt a shiver go down my spine then. But yeah, I know what you mean, and it's one part of the humble pie that I'm having to eat. I said at the start of the season, God help us if Jakub gets injured and we're having to rely on Begovic. But in a couple of games when he did stand in for him, I think he deserved to keep his place, to be honest with you. And again, I think that's
it. Who knows? If he comes in, he may set something down, and Stolarczyk may be sitting for a while.
Yes,
Begovic he may have the desire and the want to, and that's what you want from the players. You want them to come in and want to play well.
But also, with Jakub conceding that, 22 games that is now since we last kept a clean sheet. We've got the lowest or equal lowest number of clean sheets in the whole division. I always say that when a new manager comes in, the thing that they have to do, the first thing they have to do, because look, if a new manager's coming in, 10 times out of 10, it's because the previous manager has moved on, whether that's being sacked, as it was with Cooper, or poached, as it was with Enzo. But usually, most of the time, it's being sacked because we're not doing well. And the new manager that comes in, if you listen to sort of the decent managers that know what they're talking about, it's always a case of they say, we're going to sort the defence out first.
Mm-hmm.
Because it doesn't matter if I'm going to go and bring in Lionel Messi and we're scoring 3 or 4 goals when we're conceding 5 or 6 at the other end. If you're not conceding goals, you're not going to lose. Doesn't guarantee you're going to win, but you're not going to lose. But surely that's the first priority, is to sort the defence out.
And it's a great point, because you're right. I mean, if anything, you're not going to lose. You may draw, you may win, but you won't lose. But I think we've seen a turn on the defense, because look, your love child is gone, right? He's still here. He's still here in my memory. Right. He's never to leave you. He's always got your back.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, we've seen a Coley settle in. We've seen Nelson settle in. I think that makes Vestergaard play a little harder when he comes in now. Certainly we have to sort out the left back, although Nelson, as we will talk later, played pretty darn well there yesterday. Then we just need to sort out the right back. But I think it's slowly but surely weeding out the ones we do not want there or don't want to be there. So I think the adage of sorting out the defense first is taking shape. Slowly, very slowly. Right. Maybe when we're talking about the defence, we should. Years ago, you've heard of Steve Walsh, one of the best defenders we've ever had. He turned for a while one season into a makeshift striker, got 2 goals in the playoff final and got us into the Premier League. Maybe we should do that with our defence, because this is a goal that was made up by, and I will
barrel to you the fact that AU set Okoli up, but Okoli got the assist and set up Vestergaard. Let's have a look at that.
Chowdhury to Ayew. A floated ball drifted into Okoli. It's Vestergaard and an equaliser. And
Just to hear that, Vestergaard with the equaliser, just
yes.
What did we just see?
Vestergaard controlled with his left foot, finished.
It was a good ball in by AU, to be fair.
Another goal in Wales after scoring in the winner's.
You saw how
he scored
Okoli
a late equaliser,
just muscled himself in the position to be able to get that ball down and in, right in the throat. Yeah.
I mean, I have never seen a goal, and I've made a lot of this today on social media. I've never seen a goal less celebrated by both fans and players. And I usually don't, or I take what the Leicester Mercury online, which is Leicestershire Live, say, but I'm just going to bring this up now because this, I have to say, Jordan, who takes a bit of stick on this channel, but I'm going to give him credit for what he said here. Why Leicester City didn't celebrate last-minute goal with club on brink of transfer emergency. Taking points from the 1-1 draw with Wrexham, looking at Yannick Vestergaard's last-minute equaliser emotion, Ben Nelson as left-back, midfield injuries and more. And he starts off by saying, the joy has been sucked out of Leicester City. So much so that even a last-minute equaliser could not spark a celebration. Somebody, again, on one of my social media posts, I think it was, or possibly in the watch long, said they didn't even take their hands out of their pockets. Now, you saw that video that I showed from Alex Ferguson.
Yeah, that was terrific. I mean, that's something you should speak about again because that was well said. And let's talk about that, and then let's go back to what we felt, what we saw when the equalizer went in.
Oh, yeah, basically what he is saying, he said, with 15 minutes to go and you're 1-0 down, don't play around the midfield and play defensive. Stick strikers on to help. Well, he said you two up front. I mean, I'd love two up front to start with. But he said, and just go for it. Yes, you may lose as often as he did. He said, I did lose games by breakaways. Players might get sent off, etc. He says, but the joy, the unbridled joy of the fans, oh my God, that was a smash and grab. We got a point when in the last minute. And, we know how deflated from Spurs a few seasons ago when they got 2 goals after 93 minutes. It knocks the stuffing out of you. And there's always a chance, obviously, of a second. But he says, the buzz it gives to players, the buzz it gives to fans. We scored in, I think, the 90th minute, it's counted as, but 91st minute. And I know I wasn't doing the commentary for the game, but you know how I like to celebrate goals.
Oh, yeah.
And I didn't. I just went, oh, that's 1-1. And you look, and even the players weren't. The players should have been absolutely going mad at that. They just snapped a draw out of the jaws of defeat in extra time. There's no way Wrexham were going to get back into that, you would hope. And yet they were it's like they just won a corner.
Yeah, a couple of things. The thing from to finish up the thing from Alex Ferguson, those Man U teams back then were known for that. What he said is so true. They would pull those winners and those equalizers out in stoppage time in, because he threw everybody in there, and they were ruthless to win. And I'm sure their fan base, whether it be home or on the road, celebrated wildly. I'm wondering, I saw passion in the first half from our team. Second half, we held them off a while from getting that early goal in the second half that normally happens. But I think the team was just spent. I mean, I emotionally spent because they fought near the end. They fought to work that goal. But I mean, there's no excuses. I mean, I would have expected some some type of celebration. But I just think they were emotionally spent. They lost their true best player to an injury, which I'm sure we'll talk about, JJ. They had Skip, who we'll talk about him too, about possible captain. And then we had some poor play by guys that came on the field afterwards as subs. I think they were just emotionally spent. But still, where were our away fans? I didn't hear it in the stadium either.
No, and usually, and I've said this before at matches, very often we have fans come to the King Power and we hear the away fans over our own fans. But that's true because when you go away, you have a certain type of person that goes, gets up at 5 a.m. and drives all the way down to Wales or whatever. You know what I mean? It's they're resilient and they make a hell of a lot more noise and din than the home fans do. But I think it's just been drained out of the fans as well.
Yeah, and it may have. I mean, all you have to do is look at your chat during your watch-alongs, your post-match, everything. The fans have been so critical of ownership, management, critical of Marty, critical of the players. Right now, for a team that is mid-table, the fan base is just ruthless and very negative on the team. So I applaud those who travel. I applaud those who go across the UK to watch Leicester play. They deserve to have their opinions. Everybody deserves to have their opinions. But, I mean, I'm one who wouldn't give up on the team. I certainly didn't yesterday. I really thought, as I told you in the watch-along or in the post-match, I really thought we would get beat. I thought from beforehand, because I thought they came back after a loss. They were at home. They were going to be mad and ready to take us to the cleaners. And then when we stayed in there as long as we did, even though they scored in the 62nd minute, I kept telling Wayne, I said, hey, we're gonna come back. We're gonna come back. I mean, certainly I didn't expect a 90-minute equalizer, but my point is, I see a lot of us are the wheels coming out of the fans' perspective as well. I mean, you say the players were zapped. I think the fans are zapped as well. And all I'm going to say is the glass half full is don't give up on them. We're in a process of the club being turned around, and just hang on.
I always say look, you can divorce your wife, your kids can go to the other side of, even stay in the same country and you can fall out with them, look at the Beckhams. But one thing you can't change is your football club. You can't say, you crap. Some people do, but you crap, and I'm going to start supporting you.
They're not real fans then.
No, I agree. But I mean, I did that show recently, and I'm 63. I've been supporting them since I was a teenager, and we have had bad seasons, but the way that I'm seeing these so-called professional top-flight players play, and Jordan went on to say, some of these players are expecting to be playing in the Premier League, not, in the mid-table second-tier team. Well, it's their fault that we are. I thinking, why am I bothered? Like I say, I did that show. I'm falling out of love with my club, and I am, and I will keep going back. We spoke yesterday on the post-match about Nigel Pearson. I have a 7 to 8 hour return journey when I had my season ticket, which was the last time was in the Great Escape season, and I used to go every week or every home game, with my son, and even for the late nights when it was Champions League and I wasn't getting home till 2 in the morning. We were still doing it, but under that Great Escape year, we were losing and losing and losing. But what we saw every week was fight.
Mm-hmm.
We never saw a 4-0 or a 5-0 defeat. We didn't win, but the lads were putting an effort in, and that's just what I don't see. Look, we're both wearing shirts. Yeah, look, I mean, I know you got yours, from Steve Guppy. That's lovely. This cost 60, 70 quid as a replica shirt.
Yeah.
I have got all 3 replica shirts this season. That had I got them from the shop, I would have been paying. Well, I got 2 of them from the shop, so there's 120 odd quid straight away, 140 quid. And when I'm paying that sort of money, because I like to do that, because I don't go to the games now, because I don't have a season ticket, although I can probably turn up and get in, can't you? And I want to do that, but then I'm thinking, why? When the club is treating the fans like this, and it's not just the players, it's the ownership as well. It is, it should just be pride. It should be pride. And is it just a case, Jim? And this is a very very long way of getting to a question for you.
That's good. You're doing great.
I'm Brad. I've got Brad mode on here, but no, I love you, Brad. By the way,
Love you, Brad.
yeah. What was the question? But, it's is it a fact of today? People just don't have any pride in where they go to work and what they do.
I think you've opened up Pandora's box on the way the world and the way sport is right now. Let's go back to the players, okay? I'm thinking about Fergie, okay? I'm thinking about even when we had Nigel Pearson, the team that you saw that had Fight, okay? Different time, different manager, but different players. Those players were hungry. A lot of them were cast-offs. A lot of them, they were hungry to prove something. I know Alex Ferguson. He couldn't manage now with today's football like he did back in the day. He just couldn't. Okay, and I think what happens is the players have so much control with their wages, with everything, and they make so much money. And I'm not saying it's right, but they get in there and they're entitled. And a lot of them, like you said, everything you said was spot on. We should be playing Premier League football. I came here for this. This isn't what I came here. Maybe if I don't play, I can get out of here sooner. So those are it's the give up mentality. It's if I don't have it now, I don't want it. I'm going to take my ball and leave. And I think it's that way with professional footballers in the UK. It's that way with professional sports, unfortunately, over here in the States. They make so much money. And in a lot of cases, they have the leverage on the coaches, managers, on the ownership in a lot of cases. What does that ever happen in real life, in business? I mean, you work, you managed, I managed. We didn't have that. I mean, it was direction. So I think I don't want to say power, but the entitlement that the players have. And secondly, to the societal side of it. Now I'm getting bradish. How do you like that?
You go for it.
That's what it is. How many people do you see working at companies for a long period of time that have loyalty, that work hard, that are vested, that care about the company that they work at? I mean, you worked at a couple of gigs, I'm sure, a long number of times. I retired 2 years ago after 41 years managing people in an aerospace business. And wow. I cared about the company and I cared about the people. And I think what happens in society, there's no loyalty to companies. There's no loyalty to each other. And I think it's spread into sport. I mean, these players, how many of them live and breathe for this crest right here? How many of them? And I think that's the difference. Even when we get players, and I'll finish with this, even when we get players that have come up through the academy. I mean, it broke our hearts to see KDH go because he loved Leicester City. He loved playing for the club. He was one that played for the crest. But when we had the Great Escape and those wonderful years, we were spoiled by players who had the heart and the desire. They wanted to win. In a lot of cases, they were cast off by the teams that they played for. We don't have that now. We don't have those that truly, truly care as much. So I'm
100%. No, it's 100. And everybody says now, and look, Nick's put there, never forget, we are the club. They are the business that trades in our name. They are just employees. I know the sportsmen, but they are still employees. They are not like, some of the, again, it's not as same as it was, but, rugby union over here, there'd be a postman during the week, and then Saturday go and play rugby league. Now it's turned professional. A lot of those Olympic stars, they're not employed by anybody. They have to go out and get sponsorship. How many guys? If they said to these guys, right, go and get sponsorship, that's your wages. Nobody would pay to sponsor these players. And somebody said earlier, sorry, let me just finish on that point. Sorry. So I think. And this is why I'm saying, is it a case of society now? Because no matter how annoyed I was, and you fall out with where you work, of course you do. Everybody does at some point. But I still went into work. Yeah. I had a huge row where I stormed out of my office, slamming the doors. It made the whole floor go quiet. Nearly took the door off the hinges. Went in the next morning, demanding to see my boss to her face. She made me wait, which made me even more angry. Went in and and I said to her, right, you're going to sit there now and listen to me for the next 15 minutes. You're not going to interrupt. You're going to let me just say what I've got to say. And she said, do I need to put the door back on its hinges first? And despite all of that, I turned up. I worked. Yeah. I did my best because they were still paying my wages. Yeah, and that's that's what gets me with these. Yes, they're on very good wages. Look, we know football's changed. KDH didn't go up having to clean people's boots anymore like the youngsters used 2 years ago. Right. And somebody just said earlier about Fergie time. He was like he had his own watch and what have you. But none of his players, and if they did, they'd get roasted. Stopped playing after 85 minutes. If it was 96 minutes, 97. He made damn sure they played until that whistle went, just like Martin O'Neill did for us. He would not have accepted. So remember that? Well, you probably don't remember. We had a game against Arsenal. This was the year that Arsenal won they won the title and they did the Invincibles year.
Yeah, I remember that game.
Yeah, and they came to Filbert Street, and it was 2-1 to them in the 90th minute. Or the 89th minute. Injury time was played, and it finished 3-3. Now, Martin O'Neill would not have allowed any of those players to have given up on the 90th minute, and we lost the game. We fought until the end, and that's what you want players to do. I just think we know we've got a lot of bad players and we know they've got to go, but I still think things can be done. I think you can say to Ricardo, look, mate, you passed it. You're going to be on the sub bench now. Going to start a Luco. He's going to be my number one right back. Yep. And you know what? You can come on if we need to, if he's injured or he's out of his depth or anything like that. Because he's not going to be here next season anyway. So why are we playing these players? That's what the other thing I don't get, He bought Simori on the other week. Why?
No, that was puzzling. You're absolutely right. And I think with Ricky P, it's the time. Now's the perfect opportunity because it's not just, he's supposed to be our captain, our leader. He doesn't show it on the field. He doesn't show it by voicing, jumping in and supporting his team. He doesn't need to be on the field.
If aliens had landed during that game, got out the spaceship and went up to a Leicester player and said, take me to your leader, he'd have gone, I don't know who it is.
Yeah. I think it was Clibo who put a note on there or in the chat yesterday, and I thought it was great. He said, it's time to put Skip as our captain. And I thought about that, and I didn't get a chance to comment yesterday when we were post-matching, but I thought that would be because he's resurrected. Marty's got him playing well. He's done everything Marty's asked. This isn't strictly a skip rant, but that's what you want. He's played up front. He's played as a center back. He fights hard, and he's the kind I could see get out there because you want to see someone who does that, but also who can be vocal. And you're right. That spaceship lands and you see that little 22 raising hell and getting his teammates fired up. That's the leader. So we need to continue to develop that.
Sorry, just dropped my notes. Definitely. What, and the fact that he's been at this club, he's taken the stick that all the fans gave him when he started. I mean, I hate to keep saying that. I always said, he would be good given the chance. Don't want to kind of rub that in, but exactly. The last time I had a pat on the back was when I fell over in the cow field. But
that's why people tune into your shows. You know that they don't tune into your football; they just tune in for your jokes.
This is what they want.
That's when they tune out.
Yeah, well, that's true. That's true. But no, he's stuck at it. He's not thrown his stomach out the pram, and he's stuck at it. Right, I want to show you now, Jim, a couple of things that the two managers said at the end of the game.
Interesting.
Just in comparison. So this was Marty Cifuentes. It's a game of two halves. Hang on. I should have had something ready for that.
Go ahead.
I've got to find it. I wasn't prepared. I fooled myself there. Where's it gone? Well, I can't.
Come on, Sherlock.
MN.
Yeah, no shit, Sherlock.
I need to put that under N for no, don't I? I've got it under S for shit. I put it under O. It's a game of two halves, apparently. Now, I'm surprised he knows that when he's managing a team that only ever seems to play for 45.
Yep.
The conditions on the pitch and in the stadium influence the development of the game. Yes, but it also worked for, Wrexham. Wrexham weren't playing at a different stadium where it wasn't raining. They were on the same pitch. And we knew because of the conditions it could change the game a lot in the second half. Now, he goes on to say, and I haven't put it there, he does go on to say that the wind was behind Wrexham in the second half. But then we had that wind in the first half, and I'm thinking another thing that Fergie used to say was it was the excuses about why he lost, or the shirts were the wrong colour, or the grass was too long. All of that is managers speak.
That's the weakest thing I've ever heard a manager say after a game. It's so weak. And
well, do you want to compare that with Phil Parkinson, the Wrexham boss?
It's like Captain Obvious just told us this stuff. Go ahead.
Yeah. The second half, it was exactly what we anticipated. Lewis O'Brien and Ollie Rathbone set the press for us against a team we knew would look to build a lot from the back.
There you go.
Wow, how nice must it be to have a manager manage your club that actually links, this team play out from the back. Right, we're going to do ABC.
Yeah.
Rather than a manager that goes, Sheffield United beat us, we were 3-0 up at half-time because they were 4-4-2 and we were 3-5-2. We swapped it round and we got it back to 3-2. But I know what I'm going to do when we play them next. We're going to play 3-5-2 again. Mm-hmm. I mean, this guy, I'm sorry, I'm lost for words.
No, and the more we talk about it, like we did in the post-match time and time again, it's the refusal, reluctance, unawareness to adjust, refusal to adjust. I mean, in any sport, once again, compare it to basketball, compare it to American football. You'll change formations. If they're doing this, you play zone. If they're this, you play man-to-man. You change your formation. You have to adjust. The teams that don't adjust get left behind. Simple as that.
Yeah. I just thought those two comments were very, very telling as to the mindset of the two managers.
And you know what? Champions are champions, and I know they're different divisions, but tell me how many championships Phil Parkinson has won as a manager in the last 3 years. How many? 3. Different levels, working his way up, which means he had to strategize, he had to motivate, and he had to adjust. And that's what you want as your manager. I concur 100%. We are not seeing any adjustment. Marty could be actually training the players right. He could be doing everything we don't see behind the scenes, but the adjustments that are not made during the game, that's what we're seeing, and it's crystal clear.
It is. And like for like substitutions, for me, why? Because that you're making a substitution to try and change something in the game. And yes, I'll agree maybe one player isn't playing well or is being, marked out the game or is just not doing well against his opposite number. But you need to use them. All of his seem to be like for like. Now look, you're American, aren't you?
Last time I looked, yeah.
Yes, you did, yeah. You've heard of Hanna-Barbera, haven't you? The old cartoon people.
Hanna-Barbera, yes.
Barbera said it. Sorry, I do apologize. And I grew up on their cartoons.
Yeah,
very well known cartoon company if you're of a certain age. So you'll remember Scooby-Doo.
Yep.
Scooby-Doo, exactly. I can't remember what the blonde hair one was called, but she was nice when you were a 5-year-old boy. But do you remember how every Scooby-Doo show ended?
Well, they would find who the villain was, and they would take the mask off of the villain.
Indeed. Now, I'm not saying when I found this, or I'm not saying that I did. Well, look, let me just show you this. I put this on social media again, and I said that I'd found this in my local comic book store, pinching that off friends. But look, if it wasn't for those pesky kids, the mask is removed and reveal it was Rude all along. I mean, to me, that's what it is. We are just seeing the same old, and I can't do the faces exactly because I'm not allowed to because it's illegal. But
right,
that's what I'm thinking. With what we're getting is at the end of the game, you take that mask off, Marty, and it's Rude underneath going, "Hello, you thought you got rid of me? No, I'm still here." Because what's the difference? What is the difference?
The lack of adjusting, 100% the same. I mean, he is definitely under that mask. I think slowly but surely we're seeing players developing, and players that we don't need are slowly disappearing, and hopefully continue to disappear from the club and off the team sheet. But back to the adjustments. That's the biggest thing that kills me. I have no response to that. None. Daphne. That's right. It was Daphne. Yeah. Well done, Ronald.
Thelma was the other one, wasn't she?
Yeah, Thelma. I think it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well done.
But yeah, no, that to me sums Marty Cifuentes up. If you've got a manager coming in that's replacing, go back to Alex Ferguson, and you do exactly the same as Alex Ferguson did and winning all the time, that's different. But yeah. I don't know why I feel like I'm watching The Traitors, and I keep coming up with this thing that nobody's listening to me. That a manager comes in and says, "Last season you got relegated, playing this formation with those players that most of which are still here. I'm going to do the same." I just don't get it. But look, this was the starting lineup, and it was a little bit trying to work out who was where and who was playing what. We had, Ricardo at left back or whatever. No, it's not. That is not actually. I apologise. No, that is not the team.
Yeah.
That was the team. Hang on. This is because I am. Let me just remove that. Bear with me. Talk amongst yourselves.
So was that was probably from Tom's Football Manager show?
Probably. Here we go. That was from the last game. Here we go. So this should be it. So we had Hamza at right back. Eventually, we decided. Vestergaard and Coley as the two centre-backs, and Nelson on the left.
Right.
I like Hamza, and I think he could go if Sheffield United come in for him, because he was loved there, and he's obviously not loved here by everybody. But if he goes, he goes. But I just don't like him at the right back. I don't know why Aluko was dropped. He did nothing wrong against Cheltenham, and you could argue that, well, all right, it was a second league, League Two team. But what I want to talk about is Nelson, and we mentioned him earlier. I mean, have we fallen upon by chance, and it very, very often happens, have we discovered the answer to our left-back problem in the short term?
I think we may have. I mean, he got great marks from all of us yesterday on post-match. I thought he played well. He's strong. He can bring the ball up the field. He's not afraid to defend and to help. He cleared a couple balls that who knows, it would have gone, probably one of them, if I remember right, could have gone past Stolarczyk for a goal. I thought he played extremely well. And I'm starting to think, Chris, as I'm looking at those faces, I'm thinking they had him back as a left back for a while when Vestergaard was hurt. And that's when we had young Luke Thomas out there as the left back. And I think maybe Marty was saying this could be our direction going forward. Once again, getting rid of your older players, getting rid of your players. We know that Vestergaard's, certainly of the age that they could start phasing them out. And I mean, think about it. When we had Thomas, Nelson, Akoli, and I guess we had Ricky P on as a right back, I could see three of them being the direction that Marty was going to go. But Luke Thomas played so poorly, that may have just given us the opportunity to see who we need just to keep at left back. Now, when you do that, you put Vestergaard back in. And all that's going to do is give us a 90-minute equaliser when we need it, right?
Well, exactly. Look, we've got Vestergaard for another season after the end of this one. So we're going for a season and a half. And I jest, could he be the next Steve Walsh and going up front? He got a couple of goals this season for us. The only thing against him is his speed.
Yes.
But if we're going to go for a back four, just don't defend with such a high line. So if you don't defend with a high line, then you're not going to be caught out, on the break. Keep it further back. I had him, if we go, want to go 3-5-2, and I'd have a Coley, him, and Nelson as the back three, with the Coley and Nelson going forward, and he's very much like a sweeper. A sleeper, I nearly said then. A sweeper. But look, he did nothing wrong yesterday. And if those are three of the back four that we go ahead with the Coley, is that still? I've still got one on Vestergaard and Nelson. Then, I mean, look. Kevin says thought Nelson was excellent last night. Indeed.
Great, Kevin.
Nick has said people will turn on him if he has a bad game. Look, if we say against any team we put the youngsters in, therefore, if you put the youngsters in on the bench, you should have a pretty bloody damn strong bench then. Drop your Mavridis, drop your Fatawoos, make them realise that, well, hang on, you're not, you've got to start playing as a team here. You're not going to automatically just get your place. Drop Stolarczyk. Then you put the youngsters in. Now, then it's down to Marty to look at it and go, I've tried Aluko, and for 45 minutes, he's been run ragged. So I need to bring Ricardo back on. But if you leave, if a player's having a bad time and you leave him on for 90 minutes, then yes, he probably is going to get a bit of a rollicking from the fans. But at least they'll be having a go. And as I've said, these players aren't going to be here next season. Why aren't we bedding the youngsters in now? And I'm not necessarily meaning 10, 15 minutes here. 45 minutes. Give them 45 minutes so that by the end of the season, they will have played another 10, 12 games, whatever it is, and they'll be used to it.
Well, you're right. And this is how good coaches and managers should do it. When they see they're going to be the future, just because of their talent, their age, the commitment that the club has to them. And they know that the older players are going to be gone. Put them in there, coach them up. They're going to make mistakes. They're young kids. They're going to make mistakes. When they make the mistake, to your point, you bring Mavididi off the bench or you bring someone else off the bench. You coach them up and say, listen, for the first 56 minutes, you played lights out. But then you did this. Then you did this. The next game, guess what? You start them again because you had a chance to coach them up, not just on the sideline. It's tough to coach them up in the middle of a game. You coach them up afterwards and say, listen, Ben, you did this, this, and that. I liked what I saw early. Continue that. And you coach them up. And then you put them back in there. You always have your veterans or your other players, to your point, on the bench, but you got to give the kids a chance to get out there and learn, kind of trial by fire, but learn out there on the – if they don't get playing time, they're just going to sit. And when they come in, they're going to be so timid or so concerned, they'll be looking over their shoulder at, if I make a mistake, he's going to pull me out. He's going to pull me out. So the best coaches or managers will play them, maybe replace them when sub them out, or maybe if he needed them the whole game, then coach them up before the next game, and then let him get back there with confidence that A, my coach saw what I was doing right, and B, he alerted me and coached me through what I wasn't doing. And that's what they want to know. They want to know what I'm not doing. So
I get it if we didn't have decent enough players, and again, I go back to Rodgers and Tielemans. Tielemans has so obviously given up. He was off at the end of the season. He didn't want to sign a new contract. He was away with the fairies, but he getting picked week after week after week. I'll go back again to Ruud van Nistelrooy, bringing Brunette, a lone player, on the last game of the season. Why? He was off the next day. There was just no logic. Give these players the chance. If we hadn't got this golden generation that we've got, I would understand it. But we have got this golden generation. We've got a £30 million bloody building there with a swimming pool and 5-star restaurant and sleeping facilities and a golf course that they all go to every day, supposedly training. Then, let's now produce these players. Well, let's see them. So I know. So I get that. I would be dropping Fatawu. I'd be dropping Mavididi as well. Bobby, yes, look, he's good. But again, give Louis Page a start and then bring him on sort of later on. Because I always used to say, play your best players from the start. But if we do that, it's not like our best players are getting us in front. You know what I mean? So
no, you're right. And even with the Mavididis and Fatawu, by sitting them, you find out if they really have it here in the heart, if they really care. Because if they do sit and they see other players either doing well or struggling, do they have the desire to come back in and say, all right, I'll get my chance back and show them? Or are they going to be the ones that I'm just here to collect a paycheck? I could give a shit, But you won't know unless you sit them.
No, and when you're bringing a player on for the last 15 minutes, you're playing against tired players. When we do need them to play the full 90, they're going to be, oh, shit, why is that player so? No, I'm used to playing slow players that are knackered and, oh, God. Why do I do? Why do we do this to ourselves, Jim? That's what I want to know.
We're fans and we love our club.
Yeah, there we go. That's the thing. Right, here we go. I did jokingly say in the watch along, maybe we should have had our defence up front and our up front. Well, to be honest with you, our strikers are pretty much in defence anyway, aren't they? They're not at the right end of the field. But look, you got Vestergaard scoring, you got Okoli with the assist, 2 injuries, which I've not heard anything about today, with Skip and James. I've got to say, if those two are out long time, we are fucked. Excuse my French. Are we not?
No, we are certainly. I mean, that's one way. Unfortunately, that's one way to see the youngsters, and that is not the way we want to see it, because they have been our heart and soul the last month, and that's not the way we want to see it. And with the hamstring, that worries me. I know I heard Skip just got knocked a little silly. So as long as he's not in a concussion protocol, but God, yeah, losing them would hurt.
He may have to miss the next game.
Yeah.
Gives us a chance to look at tomorrow. God help us.
Oh,
but
God.
He's made 2 changes which were enforced on him, and yet he didn't make another change until the 78th minute. What in that second half, when apparently Wrexham had got the wind behind them, according to Marty, and were playing, like Thundercats, why did he leave it until the 78th minute to bring Monger on?
No idea. And that's part of the substitutions, and that's part of the in-game management that Marty has us completely baffled. What he thinks he's seeing is completely different than what the rest of us are seeing. It's as simple as that. And, I don't know. It made no sense. I mean, you need to try to score, and you wait that long to try to bring someone on that could possibly change the game. I don't know.
And there's a hell of a lot of pressure on this 16-year-old lad to come on and, like you said then, very, very astutely said, change the game, because that's what he can do. But Marty's got that out of him. He's coming on now, and I have to say, Monger doesn't look half the player that he used to.
He doesn't. I know we talked about that a couple of weeks ago. He doesn't. Not like that player we saw as the season began after the preseason friendlies and then a season. Oh, he was electric. He was dangerous. He was someone that they had to game plan for. He was someone that could put a fear in defenders. I mean, he seems to have we don't know. I don't know if it's a laissez-faire attitude, if it's I don't care, if he's pouting, if he's not confident anymore. A player with those skills, my God, as soon as you hit the pitch, those skills are there. You normally just let them fly. So something changed his mindset.
Well, yeah, unless his manager is telling him to do, because they always used to say, didn't they? Look, you can't tell Gazza what to do. You can't tell Glenn Hoddle what to do. You just say to them, just go onto that pitch, be yourself, and create havoc. But this is what they always used to say. This is what they did with Brazil. They said, just go on and play your game. And then England be going, oh, no, you can't do that. You've got to pass this ball there and that ball there. And you take the creativity out of the players. And I'm looking at the bench here, and I mean, we were limited to what we had, but we had Silko Thomas, who could have come on. We had, or Page, who obviously did come on. The bench is like not brilliant. Our only option up front was Daka, and again, beggars belief why Jake Evans isn't on there. I'm thinking like, we will never know if he's not given the chance. And he'll be thrown in possibly in September when we kick off the new season, August. He'll be thrown on and we'll go, oh, he's not very good, is he? Because he's not at the time.
And, we talked yesterday, while you mentioned Jake Evans, we talked yesterday about size. Well, certainly he's 5'9", a little diminutive. I get that. But he's got game. I know IU is 6 foot. And he's got stronger body build, but you got to put him out there. You got to make sure some of those players, even though small in nature, they've got the skills. They keep away from getting hit. They know how to move with the ball, without the ball. Are they going to be the ones on your corner kicks going up for a header? Maybe not, but get him out there. At least let us see, and don't ruin his confidence of, hey, why am I even here? You give him a chance.
Yeah. Do you remember yesterday I said that Jordan Ayew was 5'9"?
You did, and I didn't want to correct you.
Well, all right, 5.97 is the official, according to the stats. He's 5.97. Just typed in for Jake Evans, and he's 5'7'4". Now, I know a lot of women might say 2 inches makes a lot of difference, but does it when you're on the football pitch? Because, like you say, if you want somebody to be on the end of a cross, Vestergaard should be up there at corners.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. That puzzles me because when we were doing that, I looked, and I don't know if it's the difference for where we're looking at, but I found in when I Googled or called up Jake Evans, it was 5'9", and then IU was 6 foot even, which is what, 3 inches different. Yeah, 2 or 3 inches. It doesn't matter, but get him out there. Let's see what that 5'9" or 5'7" does on the field.
Yeah. Let's try it with a couple of less inches and see how we get on.
As long as you know how to use it, right?
Well, this is very true, So, as I always used to say to my wife, size doesn't matter, especially not when you're playing in the Albert Hall. But anyway, let's look. This is a stat I absolutely love, and it shows. They call it the momentum, and I think it's sort of. I don't know if that's the right word or not, but it's not possession, but it's sort of. I think what they're trying to say is when you've got the ball, are you making the most of it? Are you going forward with it? And you look at maybe the first 20 minutes there, 25 minutes, and it's virtually all blue. Then it's all red for Wrexham, and then we come back in at the end just before half time. But look at that second half, right? Marty says, "Oh, they have the wind behind them, and that works for aeroplanes. I don't know if it works for humans, Marty, but they never got up. Look at our first half with the wind behind us. Look at their second half.
Yeah,
if that was a human, they'd be dead on the heart monitor. There's nothing there to suggest. Yes, they had the ball a lot, which they did." They weren't particularly doing that much with it. Look, that goal should never have gone in. But to me, that just blows Marty's argument out the window.
No, and we thought Marty's argument was weak, and like I said, it made no sense. But this is a great stat, and it's a great chart because that's exactly how the game went. I thought we were the better team for a good bit of that first half. They had their runs, they had their moments. I thought we ended up pretty decent. And then truly the way that second half went, we didn't concede until later on, but they were definitely on the front foot. We were falling into, here we are, as we saw in the chat, here we are, Leicester, we're going to fall apart. And then they scored. And then we actually had moments wrapped around theirs near the end. This is a great chart. Then that's exactly how the game went, and it had nothing to do with the weather, for God's sake.
No. And it does, to my mind, show up what a bullshitter Marty Cifuentes is. Hi, Clibo. Hi, Nick. Remember when we signed Matt Elliott, we went 7 months without conceding a goal by a header. And apparently it was Warren Barton who scored the first. I think you need to get out more, Nick. I really do. But it's true. And then, of course, this works for everybody. This Matt Elliott scored 2 goals in the League Cup final against Tranmere. Steve Walsh up front scored 2 goals, I think, against Derby. This is what Vestergaard scored 1 goal. Oh God! You do know. I kind of just say to people, I am actually only 35. It's just the club has made me look this old.
Hey, tell Clibo while he's on here that you and I are going to submit Skip's name for captaincy since he brought it up yesterday. So Clibo, we're going to, Chris is tight with ownership and with Marty, so Chris is going to submit that. Right, Chris?
I tell you what, you need. I don't know. This is going to sound a bit silly, but I did have a dream about Leicester last night. There was a clip. And you probably wouldn't have seen it. And it was what was that guy that used to do the Late Show for CBS? James Corden.
Yes.
Before he went to America and did all that, and he plays a character called Smithy in a sitcom Gavin and Stacey. And he did this for the England football team. And he went into their dressing room and they took part. It was for comic relief, a charity thing. And he went in and he was telling everybody, "Oh, you rubbish, and do that and do this." And I had this dream where I was in the at Seagrave with all the players in a room in front of me, all the different ages, and I was really tearing into them. Right, you guys need to know what the fans really think of you. And I was going on it. I mean, I say dream, it was more of a nightmare, if I'm honest with you. But, the thing I remember is the fact that they didn't know. They're being told, there was I saying, "You're shit. Why are you playing? You're not worth your 80,000 quid a week. You're not even worth 800 quid a week. You can't pass the ball 2 yards to somebody else from your same team." And, and I'm thinking, like, this is what they need,
Yeah.
And look,
I did like that. I did like Clibo's suggestion as Skip as our captain, but we need somebody to let them know on the field so that they don't have to be surprised when somebody finally tells them after the match that they didn't play worth a damn.
You've got the only two that I see, and Skip is a hell of a good shout. I'd even give it to James and say, "Look, none of you guys that are here full time are good enough. I'm going to give it to the guy we've got in on loan." The only two I think are AU and Dakota Reed. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and that's simply because, they are the ones that seem to sort of be getting the huddles together. And, AU's going up to Stolarczyk and going, "You shit, you should have got that," or whatever. That said, AU should have been up the other end of the field getting ready for the ball coming out. But there we go. Look, I mean, these are the main stats. The XG 1.01 for Wrexham. We were sort of a very paltry 0.39. 16 shots they had. And actually, but we don't know. It's silence on both him and Skip. They had 16 shots. We had 5. Now, in fairness, and I'm very quick to criticise, so I'm going to give a bit of credit where it's due here. They had 16 shots, 3 of which were on target. We only had 5 shots, but 4 of those are on target. And that, I'm looking at that those 2 particular stats. And if I was the Wrexham manager, I wouldn't be happy with that.
No.
Now, if I was the Leicester manager, then I would look at that and go, "Yeah, okay, we only had 5 shots, but nearly 100% of those were all on target."
Right. At least it shows that we at least knew what to do with it when we did shoot. The problem was we didn't shoot hardly at all because we didn't get the ball anywhere near the scoring zone and get it anywhere near the box to put it on goal.
You've got one winger on the left who's selfish, like we said earlier, with that effort he had. If he'd put it into the box, it could have come off one of their defenders and gone in. If it hadn't gone and if it hadn't, and it had gone all the way through to AU, he just had to tap it in. And then on the other side, we've got a winger who doesn't believe that he plays with anybody. He's a one-man team, and he's going to take everything from the halfway line. Great when it comes off, but 1 in 10, 1 in 15, times it works out. But when you look at that, the big difference again is and we were talking about height before. Aerial duels won. They won 21 aerial duels. We won 11. Again, that's not good enough, is it?
No.
Especially if it's his defenders we're talking about.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. And Akoli, which just so you know, on my TV feed that I had, the announcer called him Akali the whole time, which was driving me insane. It's not bloody Akali, but I think with Akoli, Vestergaard, and Nelson, I think we got some size there and aggressiveness. So we've got to do better. Agreed.
Yes, no, totally. And I've had one of those feeds before now, and it drives me mad as well. And Faze and Faz, that was the other one as well. And I ended up using both of them during the game. But look, we have revamped the watch-alongs, and I think what we've got now is a great setup of how it works going forward. Your little job in the watch-along is to do a spotlight on. Now, Sky used to do this ages ago, and I'm not saying to you, I don't want you to look if the player's not involved, but I want you to sort of just keep your eye on a player and sort of give them, your thoughts. Now, I will tell you now for this weekend against Oxford, I want you to do the player profile on Stolarczyk.
You know what's going to happen, don't you? He won't start. They'll get Begovic in there. So that's your plan. Good move, Chris.
That is it. You've worked me out. Yes. Because in fairness, what happened was I said to Jim, right, everybody had gone mad about Luke Thomas in the Coventry game. So I said, right, what we're going to do is I want you to do this. First one, we're starting this yesterday. I want you to keep an eye on Luke Thomas and tell us about his game. And then, of course, right at the last minute when the teams came out, which is, 90 minutes before kickoff, or 75 minutes before kickoff, she realised he wasn't playing. And Jim, bless him, had done all his homework and everything. So
I even know what grammar school he went to.
I'm sorry. That wasn't my fault. You can't blame me for that.
No. But see, I like your theory now. So you're going to say, watch Stolarczyk next week, and he won't play because we really want Begovic in. Brilliant.
You've worked me out. Me out. But no, if you're subject to him being changed, could you please do Stolarczyk against Oxford? But basically, these are his stats. His stats are better than they were against Coventry because at Coventry he didn't have any strikes, any assists, any goals, which for your number 9 is absolutely disgusting. At least he had one here. And you did make the point, and let's say we've got to play fair when he does something good. He did put the ball in for Okoli to knock it down, or Okoli to knock it down for Vestergaard to score. But again, is he the right person to be playing 90 minutes as our number 9?
No, he isn't. And yesterday brought a lot of criticism, certainly of not just what I shared, but our fans' feeling on IU. And I don't think it's more of a indictment. That's what came out yesterday. It's an indictment on where we are as a club in that position. I mean, who else are we going to put there? I think
Jake Evans.
Yeah, well, I mean, give him a try. He wasn't even on the team sheet yesterday. So what are they seeing? I don't know. IU has his positives, but for us and what we need, no, he's not the one as a number 9. He's not. I think he's one that shows some leadership. He communicates. I just think with his age, he doesn't have the pace. I mean, anytime he started, I was at the point of saying, okay, when are we going to pull him off and get some fresh legs in there? But God forbid, I do not want to see Daka in there. Unless it's Jake Evans or his twin brother, Jake Edwards, they're not going to, there's nobody else we're going to put in. So it's just a testimony of where we are as a club. It really are. I don't know. I think to what I said yesterday, he started off strong. He communicated. He talked to the team in the huddle before the game started. He was one that showed some passion. He got ticked off by getting knocked down, and he did. He got knocked down a lot yesterday. One of the guys in the chat said yesterday he spends most of the game on the floor because he's down there. But he was really getting physical by their center back, Hyam. So I think there were some positives, but he's just not who we need there. And that's just a testimony of where we are as a club. Unless we just bite the bullet and throw Jake Evans in there. And I'm all for it. I like IU, but I'm all for it because we got to see what else we have. We know what we've got with him. We know it's deficient in that position. Let's get somebody else in there. If Marty was to replace him with Daka to start the game, I would throw up. That's how bad I feel about Daka. But anyway.
Well, I'm just looking, actually. Jake Edwards is actually the CEO at Huddersfield Town. So I don't think we could play him up front. Have we actually got... No, the youngest... There we go. Jake Edwards, 28. He's an attacking midfielder, and he plays for Leatherhead Football Club. And if you're an old enough Leicester fan, you'll remember Leatherhead because they actually... Oh, no, it's not Leatherhead. Sorry. No, it's Llanhydra FC in Wales. But he is English. He is English, and he is an attacking midfielder. He's only 28. Let's get him in.
No. I think Clibo had a good point there. Really, Ayew can be used. If we get that player, he can be used in the last 10 minutes.
We've said this. This.
Yes. And we're trying to hold on because he's got the experience and the strength and knows he's smart enough to know how to play. But for the distance,
he will get you a free kick and either break the play up if we're under pressure, or get us a free kick in a good position. But you don't want that for 90 minutes.
Nope.
Now, I'd be more than happy, because again, this is a guy who's leaving at the end of the season. Why are we picking him? I would be more than happy to say, right, I'm going to drop Jordan Ayew, and I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to put Bobby DeCover-Reid there, because we have got him for another season as well. So we've got him for a season and a half. So stick Bobby, and then put Louis Page in that number 10. Oh, I'd sooner put Monga in that number 10 position and do that. I'd be happier doing that than having Ayew or, like you say, Daka as the two up front. Two players, I could say, that are both leaving. But
no, and that's a great point. And I don't know about Monga's experience playing that position if he has. I like Bobby up top, and I certainly like Page in that position because we've got him. They've got the talent. It may give, Page, it gives him more playing time. It gives Bobby more confidence. You'll always have Ayew to come off the bench. That's good as well. Excuse me. I think up till now, Marty is using him for his experience and leadership. But right now, it's not the time. Right now, it's the time to get the kids into what direction.
100%. It is. And Clibo's, by God, me and Clibo, honestly, we're like brothers from other mothers. We keep agreeing with everything. When you went into hospital, Clibo, and it's great to see you out and you're doing better. Did they give you a lobotomy? Did they take your brain out? Because this isn't the Clibo I used to disagree on everything with. We're getting too close. But yes, he's got those attributes, but we don't want. We don't want to prioritise leadership over being able to find the net.
No, especially because going forward, like I said, he's not going to be there. He's not going to be there. I think he was used as not a liaison, but a way to help the young ones come along. But they should be out there now. They've got to just trial by fire. They've got to get on the field and learn there.
Yeah, I agree. I agree 100%. Well, we're getting to the interesting part of the show now. Yes, I think he is, Nick. Maybe not above a couple of the others, but he's an option. Again, he was somebody that showed we can do well. I noticed Popov, who's one of our youngsters, has gone out on loan today as well for the rest of the season. But yeah, look, anybody's worth a chance and give them 45. But we are coming on to the player ratings now. Brad and you and Steve usually pull the hair out of these because they completely disagree with Jordan. And he's a lovely guy, Jordan. I've had him on the show. But sometimes, it's opinions, isn't it? Steve will give somebody a 2 and Jordan will give him a 7. But it is all about opinions. So I'm going to let you give yours marks first. Remember, there's no half points here.
Right.
Clibo, that's a very good question and one that I don't have the answer to. I think it's in the Mercury as to where he's gone. So, yeah, you'll give your rating, then I'll give mine, and then we'll see what Jordan has to say. Right, so let's start with Jakub.
I was afraid you were going to ask him.
Well, he's the goalkeeper. Well, he's the goalkeeper, allegedly.
Well, what I mean by that is it's kind of a mixed message yesterday for his play. There were times he made some really good saves, but there was times I don't think his head was in it. And we can't afford that as our number one. We just can't. He's got the ability. We've seen it before. I gave him a 4. I thought he had one of his worst games. He did make a couple of great saves, but we said earlier, I think it's time to give Begovic a shot and give Stolarczyk a break.
Yeah, I think sometimes it's good to just take these players out of the limelight a little bit, you know. Are we, do you think, when we're saying like somebody makes great saves, are they really great saves, or are they what we would expect a goalkeeper to do? Thank you, Clippo. Yeah.
That's a great point. To the uneducated eye, non-goalkeeper eye, I mean, somebody like a Brad or a Tom would know how difficult it would be, or whether it was something that should just be the norm. Yeah, I guess it's a little tougher for us than it was those who have played the position, but you expect their head to be in the game. That's the key. And I see it over here. I see it over here in high school soccer, where you get the keepers that are not even, their head's not in the game, where the game's going in front of them, and all of a sudden the ball comes to, and they're not even watching or aware. So I think first and foremost, you've got to be aware of what's going on in front of you. And then it's up to athleticism and go from there.
Yeah. I can't even be as generous as you are being, because, like I say, you know, I would say the saves that he made personally, again, this is all about opinions, and I'm not saying, you know, neither of us are wrong. It's just about the opinions, and neither of us are going to agree with Jordan, because I can see what he's put up. I'm going to have to give him 2. I'm sorry. Ooh. I know. I was edging on the thing of 3, but it's just that huge cock-up. And that cock-up isn't just a cock-up he makes every now and again. It's a cock-up we're seeing at least one a game.
Yeah.
And it isn't the fact that it's the same cock-up necessarily. It's like he's sorted that one out, so he thinks, right, I can't do it. I know how to do that now, so I'll go and cock up something else. If he's not ready to do this, then he shouldn't be in the team. And I keep asking the question, did we get it wrong, and did we let the wrong keeper go? And I don't mean Danny Ward. I mean, yes, I agree, Clibbo, but then it's down to the manager to go, hang on a second, your confidence is shot now. Didn't they do it with Jordan Pickford at Everton? He was having awful games. I mean, he was doing all right for England, but for Everton, and they took him out the limelight for a bit, you know, just to take the pressure off him. Now, Jordan, in his wisdom, has given Stolarczyk a 6. I know. You see, one player in, and you're already doing the Brad growl. He dealt with nearly everything thrown at him, whether it was high balls, low shots, or dodgy back passes. He arguably did his part of the Wrexham goal too, denying more in his first instance, with his teammates not helping him out to stop the rebound. There shouldn't have been a rebound, though. That's the thing. I feel horrible only giving him a 2, but I know it's on this game, but he just needs to cut out these stupid mistakes. Right, Mr. Chowdhury. I know. You're on mute, by the way, mate.
Sorry. He had moments. I'm thinking back. I don't remember any glaring miscues or glaring, oh shit, what did he just do? He was playing a little different. I would say a 5.
Gone a 5. I get that. I was watching him. Well, I was watching the game, obviously. And to be honest with you, I probably didn't even know he was on the pitch. And that's not always a bad thing, right? You know, because I'm not noticing him because he's making a mistake. You
Right.
know, he's getting on. He's doing his job. He's not doing anything flash. Sorry, can I say Prashant gave 4 to Solarchik as well? He's not done anything. He's not doing anything stupid or flash. He's just doing what he's being asked to do, and that
Right.
isn't a bad thing. If you say, "Oh, he never," what did he do in the game? You never saw him. Well, he just got on with his job then. Do you know what I mean? So I'm going to say I probably agree with you, 5
Okay.
on that one. Prashant agrees with us as well, and so does Jordan. He's given him a 5 as well. So we're all football friends.
Football friend.
He says he showed good speed early on and was decent on the ball in tight spots, although that composure in possession quickly deserted him in the second half. But the wind was against him, Jordan. He was busy.
Well, he's not. He's not aerodynamic with that hairdo. So maybe that took him out of the way.
You see, Hamza, I'm sorry. I could have dyed the wig black, and then that would have been you, but I just couldn't. I'm sorry. He'll forever be Wout Faes, and now he's gone and probably not coming back. I just had to have some sort of memorial to the great Wout Faes stroke Faz, whatever you want to call him. Talking about what do you want to call him, Ockerley. What are we going to talk about? Now, this guy, they're talking about him going back to Italy. I hope not. I hope not.
He was my man of the match yesterday.
Yes,
I
he
think
was.
he was 3 of the 4 on our show yesterday, man of the match. I thought he really showed what he's capable of. I mean, not just with the strong assist down in the goal mouth, getting the ball to our newest goal scorer for the equalizer, but I thought he was strong on defense too. I gave him a 7. I know I'll probably catch grief for that, but I just was really impressed. I like the way his confidence, his size, his speed, and I just want to see it going forward.
He is a sort of player, isn't he? You know, it's in there. No, I completely agree, and you will come on and see who Alan, who was at the match, actually picked as well. I was the one that didn't go for a Coley.
Right.
Sorry, Ockerley. I didn't go for him, but he was in there. He was in the pot to be picked. Not that there was a lot of people in that pot, if you like. It was a very, very empty pot. But I'm going to give him. I'm going to give him 6, and the reason for that is because you'll see when I get to my man of the match, it was a man of the match, but not that was worth a 9 or a 10 sort of thing.
Gotcha.
He got a 5 off Jordan. This is what I'm saying. I love the fact that this is all about opinions. He did not play the conditions well in the first half, lumping aimless balls that were carried out by the wind, while also putting Solarchik in trouble. He can do that himself, though, Solarchik. He tussled manfully with Moore and started to win his battles by the end of the game. He kept Kiefer Moore so quiet, didn't he?
He sure did. I'm
going to change that. I'm going to go up to a 7. Do you know why? I'd forgotten how good he was with keeping Kiefer Moore under control.
Well, then you are a brilliant guy, and I agree with you. Or you agree with me.
I know I'm brilliant. Tell me something I don't know. And you know what as well? One of the things I like about myself is my modesty.
Okay. Next player, please.
Look, the goal scorer.
The goal scorer. I'm going to start a little bit of a trend here, position-wise. I thought he played, you described it well. He played, he didn't have any of those moments that I thought, holy crap, what is this guy doing? He played solid, and he got the equalizer. I don't really remember anything that he did bad. I think it's sort of like what you said with Hamza. I gave him a 6. I mean, that goal, he got a goal for God's sake. So it
Yeah.
puts him, and with his little number of goals we've scored as a team this year, it probably shot him right up the goal scoring chart.
Yeah, exactly. Well, he's got two. He's got two
Yeah.
for us. I think it was Clibo said earlier. I mean, he was primetime Messi with his feet in that goal, wasn't he? You know, I mean,
Yes.
the other goal he scored was with his head, which we've always
Yeah.
criticised that he doesn't do enough. But then again, if the balls aren't getting past, corners aren't getting past the first man, there's not a lot he can do. But actually, with his feet, he did well. I'm actually going to give him a 7
Wow.
because I like Vestergaard at this level, right? And I'm going to add that at this level. I mean, he got an 8 there off Prashant. In fairness,
Sure.
so did we miss Nelson as that centre back? No. We know Vestergaard hasn't got the speed and the turning circle of the Titanic, but you have to play him right. And that playing him right is keeping him back a little bit. Because if you're getting him up on the halfway line, which Enzo did, but he was 2 years younger then, he's not going to get back for that ball that's hit over the top. We know he's not. So play him right. And like I say, maybe even just play him as a sweeper. You know, maybe that's the answer.
Yeah.
But look, what I like about Vestergaard is, again, look, with a defender, you know when they make a mistake because the ball ends up in the net.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a, oh, shit. I always preferred him to Wout Faes.
Yeah, so do I.
Yeah, and I think what I like about Vestergaard is that he can stand there and he can just stick his foot out. That's all he has to do. Get and put it in front of the ball, and he gets it off the defender. Just simple things like getting in the way of the ball. You know, that's what you want him to do. And he's got that experience, because I don't think Ricardo should be on the pitch, but he's got that experience of being that bit older. And like I say, if I only had a 3 at the back, he would be in it. So it's a 7 from me. Probably would have been a 6, but he got the goal, so I've got to give him that.
I'm good with that.
But he got 6 off Jordan. He read most crosses well and won plenty of headers and interceptions, but lost more for the Wrexham goal. And just when City needed him, he produced a striker's finish, and it was with a brilliant touch and clean strike. Right, now, Nelson. Can I go first with Mr. Nelson?
No.
All right, then.
No, go ahead, because I know what you're going to say, and then we're going to be football friends. Go ahead.
Yeah. To me, this was a performance that was that didn't suit his age. He was asked, obviously, you know, with not much notice, probably a couple of days at the most, to play at left back, a position that is alien to him. Because I'm sorry, the left side of a back three is not the same as a left back. He used to be a midfielder. So this wasn't even the position that he's been in the past. And you could see that when he got, you know, he was getting forward, he was playing some good passes forward. But what he brought to that position that Thomas doesn't at the moment is the defensive side. Because when he got back, he's a defender and he knew. Now, sometimes you can have these decisions as a manager and you can suddenly go, didn't he do well?
Yeah.
You know what? Might try that there permanently. You know, we discovered it with Skip that if we need to, we can bring him back into the defensive line. I think he was my man of the match because of the fact that he was out of position. Do you know what I mean? He was being, you know, and I've said this. I said this before. Skip was my man of the match when he was dropped back to left back. The guy is still technically, you know, a youngster, certainly in playing time, and I think he gets my man of the match. I don't know whether he's worth an 8, but I'm going to give him a 7-star. So I can't give him a 7.
Don't give him a 7. Because I gave him a 7, damn it.
Oh, well, there you go.
I knew you were going there.
7.
No, I totally.
I think he's worth an 8 for the man of the match, but he gets a 7. I was very, very impressed with him.
So was I. And when you went with him yesterday, he was one. I had Skip playing well before he got hurt. And then it was really down to Nelson and Akoli. But I really liked Akoli. But Nelson, everything you said was spot on. And what I'm looking at, when you said about building a team through your defense, think about who we just talked about. And that's what I said a trend is developing. Vestergaard, maybe our left, one of our center backs. Nelson, maybe in that position. Okoli right next to him. You've got Nelson's experience as a midfielder, which is the way he came up. He showed he can play left back. We know he can play center back if needed. And now you got the experienced guy next to him, Vestergaard, and the strength and the speed next to him in Okoli. So you can use Vestergaard's experience to balance out the guys on either side. I like what I see. I gave him a 7, and hopefully we can solidify. Maybe it's a Luco, the right back, and we're moving forward. So what did Jordan give him?
Well, Jordan gave him a 6. So it's 6, 7. It's like he doesn't do halves either. In an unusual role at left back, he galloped forward to support Mavididi and won tackles when he rushed into the midfield. He was quieter in the second half, but he had the wind against him against Jordan. Prashant gave him a 6 as well. Ronald, look, this sums it up. Couldn't ask any more for someone not playing in his natural position. I gave him a 7.
Brilliant.
So yeah, I mean that sums it up. We've all got to. I'm going to make this a new dance. You've heard of the shuffle and you've heard of the hustle. We are now going to do the gym.
Oh no, it's the laptop. Go ahead.
Well, if you've got these bloody expensive laptops that do that for you, does it make you a brew as well?
Keep it moving.
Look, 2 players then that didn't play the full 90. James.
I love having him on the field. And I think he was playing his normal game up to that point. It's very difficult because you said it earlier. The question came up as a goalkeeper. What do you expect? James got at the point where we expect him to excel every time he steps on the field. And I think he would have been one of our highest rated players. So I think it's a tough call. And I know we're going to say the same thing with Skippy. But I would just put him, and that's not the answer, somewhere in the 5-6 range, because I think he completely played his game and he was a player we needed until the hammy or whatever it was that got hurt that took him off the field. I would say a 5, only because I think he's worth more than that, but only because we didn't have him long and he didn't play the whole game.
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree, 5. I don't think he did anything wrong. I think maybe he should have come off when he first went down, because I think if it is your hamstring, it doesn't do it any good carrying on playing. Right. And he is so important to us, and I think it was a risk. Maybe he wanted to play on, but yeah, he unfortunately went down, and he wasn't right. Even after he came back on after the first time he went down, he wasn't right. But I think he's got the same problem. And when we come on to Monga later, we expect something of Monga, and we expect him to come on and do his Strictly Come Dancing, Twinkle Toes, or Dancing with the Stars, as you call it in America, and expect him to do that, and they can't always do that, can they? He got a 4 from Jordan.
Oh.
I'm going to give exactly the same marks to Skip. Did nothing wrong when he was on. Didn't do anything outstanding. And obviously he was concussed. I think he won't be there for Oxford, which is a shame. If we don't have either of them there for Oxford. So, but I think it's just like you say, he was concussed. You could tell he looked like he'd been in the ring with Anthony Joshua, and had taken the right fist to the head. He was all over the place, wasn't he?
So what did you give him?
I give him a 5, the same.
Okay. I think that's fair. I gave him a 6 because he was one of the guys I thought was playing very well early before he got hurt. But I can live with the 5. 5, it makes sense. But I really liked what I saw out of him. But
I think we do. We do, and I think we're still in the position of why are we surprised? But he was so bad at the start. Clibbo says, I watched Skip the whole game and he really impressed me. He broke up play, made simple passes and looked physically fit and strong. He was everywhere. He got a 7, a 6 off Prashant. For Skip, where are we looking here? He got a 6 off Jordan. In fairness, Abdul Fatawu, halfway line genius.
Yeah, I think we beat it up and down in the post match, and you talked a lot about it today about I don't want to say selfish, but playing themselves instead of playing where they need to be. You can say the same thing on both wingers. They're not getting the ball where they need to be. They're not putting the ball, because anything, you said it too, if they put the ball in the box, something could happen off a defender. Another player comes out on the backside and puts it in. I just didn't think that he really made any kind of difference in the game. I gave him a 4.
Well, I'm not going to be a million miles away from you. But again, I said, we seem to be doing this all the time now. I'm agreeing with Clibbo because I've gone 3.
That's fair.
I saw absolutely nothing of him. He and again, are we playing? We've got to think that sometimes these players, like with Tielemans under Rodgers, they're being picked on what they were rather than what they are. And is he being picked because of his goal against the from the halfway line? Isn't going to do that every game. He contributed nothing. If he wasn't on that pitch, would we have missed him? No.
Yeah.
That's the thing for me. I think a lot of players are hating life under Marty, to be honest with you, Clibbo. We'll probably talk more about that tomorrow night. He got a 4 off Jordan. So he's agreeing with yourself. But like you say, 3 4s, it's there or thereabouts, isn't it? Could overread.
Once again, he didn't do anything that egregious that I said, oh, what the hell? But then he didn't do anything that really stood out. I think you shouldn't give marks for logging playing time, but he needs playing time. He needs that experience and that confidence. I just split the 0 to 10 and gave him a 5. I thought that it wasn't anything that hurt us. He didn't bring anything that really did something, but he's the kind of guy that you want out there, because how many games this year did he score that goal out of nowhere, where all of a sudden, I think at least 2 games he got us our first goal when it just came out of nowhere. So I want him on the field. It's like Jack Nicholson. We want him on
that. You were channeling
We need him on that field.
I know. How can I just say, I love that film.
Yeah.
I do love that film.
I would say average. I would give him a 5.
A 5.
I love that film.
Again, we're spending too long together here, Jim.
Sorry.
Too much. 3 was for Fatawu, and both wingers get 3 from Ronald. Prashant says Bobby came off earlier, so really can't give him a score. He was on for 78 minutes, Prashant. On his pro, he's giving him a 5. I'm going to agree with you. He didn't do anything wrong. Wasn't one of his better games. But when we say it's not one of his better games, I think we've got to say, look at the team around him. for anybody, not just a Covered, for anybody. Oh, he didn't, he didn't have one. It wasn't one of his better games, no, but the whole team was shit. Do you know what I mean? So
yeah, but look, like what I said, he got 78 meaningful minutes, okay, which is gonna make him better the next time out there.
yeah,
He's going to feel the confidence of being a starter and playing meaningful minutes, and that's what we need out of him because we need him going forward.
Yeah. Well, he got a 4 off Jordan. So the other winger, we know what Ronald's going to give him, a 3. What are you going to give Mr. Mavididi?
Well, you know what? I originally penciled in a 4. Then I remembered he didn't pass the ball to my boy Ayew for the goal. So I can live with a 3. I can live with a 3 because he's not getting the ball where it needs to get.
Yeah. Prashant says, really? Why did I think he was off early? Maybe he just wasn't involved in the game, like I say.
Invisible.
We do that. I would tend to say when we go to Mongo, I didn't know he'd come on, But
what did you give Bobby? I don't remember. You told
sorry,
us.
I gave Bobby a 5.
Okay.
I agree with you. Jordan gave him a 4. Mavididi, I'm disappointed because he was coming for a few games. He was getting there. He was suddenly producing. I see so much with him, and I think it was Coventry or possibly even, I don't know, but it was a game and he was down the wing and he was one-on-one with one of the defenders. It wasn't this game, but he does it regularly. He's one-on-one with one of the defenders. He thinks, right, I'm going to do a few fancy step-overs here. By the time he's finished that, there was another defender had come back and he had 2 defenders on him. And when we say, oh, these players have always got 2 defenders on them, they've not, but they just fought about on the ball so much that it gives the defenders the chance to get back. If he'd taken that first defender on, and we're back to it would have, he'd have probably got past him. We're back to the old Mavididi. On that clip we showed at the start, he had that chance. Why Ayew was clear. Ayew had busted a gut, and we're going to come on to this. But I mean, look, he's a lot older. He kept up with Mavididi. The defender had come back, and I think he may have got caught by Ayew on his heel as he was running. But he actually pulled away from Ayew. So there was the goalkeeper and 2 defenders. The goalkeeper was right at the near post. So if Mavididi had either A, chipped it in, it might have gone over the defenders to Ayew, who could have just stood there and gone, thank you very much. He could have played it in across the floor, and what could he have then done? It might have hit one of the defenders and gone in. Might have been an own goal. But he didn't. He's going for the glory. And for that, I'm sorry, he gets a 2 from me.
Ooh.
He's got to stop being selfish. Fair point. He gets a 3 from Mavididi. Flatters from Mavididi. Sorry, from Clibo. He flatters with his product. He does indeed, and he gets a 4 off Prashant. I'm just getting fed up with him now. Look, I'm just going to say, what the fuck are you on, Jordan? Can I have a drag on whatever you're smoking? He's giving him 5. Yes, yeah. It's not often that I say that because it is all about opinions. But I mean, yeah. What game were you marking? And then finally, everybody's favorite. Well, your favorite, Jordan Ayew. Go on. I'll let you go first on this one.
Well, this will wake up the chat line. I liked the fact that he did. You said bust a gut. I wrote it down. Bust a gut. I think he really played hard. We know what he is dealing with as far as him. He's not the epitome of what we need in the 9 spot. I think he had passion, desire. I did think he hustled. He was battling, like I said, with their center back. And I think his leadership. But he is not exactly what we need in that position, but he's all we've got right now until we get Jake Evans in. So before the fireworks hit, because he had that passion and because he was vocal and he was scrappy. I mean, we don't have scrappy. We just don't. I thought about, I'm going to get off track for 1 second. I thought about those teams you mentioned, some of those Man U teams, and some of the really teams that play well together. They're scrappy. They get in there and they just will be scrappy. And we don't have that. And he's the closest thing we have. So I gave him a 6 yesterday because the way he played, the way he tried to lead, he got into it with the ref when he was getting thrown all over the ground. Not just his normal fall over and get a call. He was getting manhandled. But I gave him a 6. I know I just froze Chris with that. Sorry.
I agree with a lot of what you said. The referee was absolutely fucking useless. I mean, why there weren't Wrexham players getting yellow cards? He was being fouled a hell of a lot, like you say, not just his normal sort of self. As a number 9, for me, he would get a 1. But because of his leadership qualities, if you like, the fact that, like you say, he busted a gut, he did miss a sitter, though, I've given him a 3. I'm sorry, Jim.
Don't
I'm taking into account everything that he did. So, like you say, he busted a gut, but he is our number 9, and I expect more of our number 9s, especially in a game where, look, we had, if you look at the times we were in their box, right, so the number of touches that we had in their box, we had 11 touches in their box. They had 12 in ours. So we weren't, we were up there with them. I just think he should have done more. But like I say, I can't fault his effort.
Right.
When I say that, busting a gut to get back, he does take it on him to shout at people, which should be a captain's role, Ricardo. But there you go. But no, I was just.
That's fine. That's fair enough. And I think Climo's on 4. That's fair.
I don't want to upset you, see, that's the thing. Now, Climo's given him 4, as you say. Prashant's given him 4. AU got a 5 off Ronald. Off Jordan, he got a 4. So
that's probably.
No, look, like I say, look, football is great because you can get 3 fans, all watching the same game, and you think they'd all been watching a different game because of what they say about different things. It is opinions. Right, coming on to the substitutes. Ricardo, when he came on.
I was hoping for him to come off as soon as he came on. I didn't realize that you'd be giving out deuces because I put him down as a 3, but I could easily see him less. He's not who he was, and he doesn't need to be on the pitch. Simple as that. So
I haven't written it down yet. So if you want to go for a deuce,
I'll give him a 2. I'll give him a 2 because and you're right. I just convinced myself. Not only his play, but he wears the armband. What does he do for us as a captain? Nothing. So 2, and he's lucky at that.
Yeah, and he got a yellow card. It seems like
he always does.
Yeah, that's why I say he got a yellow card. It's another no shit Sherlock moment, and it's like I'm the captain and I'm going to argue with the referee and get a yellow card, and that proves I'm doing my captain's job right. No,
well, and a lot of times, Chris, it's not his arguing that does it. It's his stupid play. He just makes some very veteran like plays.
Yeah. And he got caught out for speed as well a couple of times. I've got to say, I love that. I'm going to give him a deuce as well.
Okay.
I'm going to give him a 2. I love that word, deuce. I'm going to give him a 2. Look, my feelings on him. Shouldn't be captain, shouldn't be on the pitch. Clibo's in there with me as well, 2. Prashant's gone 2. 4. He gave 4 to AU. Sorry, yeah. Two's all round. However, he got a 4 off Jordan. Yeah, we've only done this once, and you're already getting into that.
He must know. You know what? Ricky P must give Jordan a lot of interviews. He must be his favorite guy in the locker room because every time he must talk to him. Maybe he's the only guy he likes. I don't know.
He's got not his night. There were poor touches, and he let Cassiri in behind in the build-up to O'Brien's goal. He looked frustrated for. That was one of the times where he got beaten for pace as well.
Yeah.
Louis Page, he came on early, and I mean, he came on in the 69th minute because of the injury to Skip. Come on then. What are you going to give to Page?
I liken him to what we saw with Bobby, a young player that the more he plays, the better he gets, and the more experience he's going to get. I gave him a 5 for the time that he was on there. I think we need to see him more, and I think what we continue to see from him is just going to make him better as he goes on. So I gave him a 5.
Give him a 5. Brilliant. I'm going to give him a 4.
And why?
I shall explain to you why.
I will be listening.
Good. Did he do anything wrong? No. Did he? Again, he was another one of, was he on the pitch? So it was one of those things where, I'm not saying I thought that because he was awful. He just went about his job. And I suppose if the team as a whole had been better, he might have got a better score. If I was able to give halves out, he might have got 4.5. But of course, as you know, I don't do halves. And for anybody who moans about why I don't give halves, I know what's he called does, Steve. We're comparing this to Jordan, and Jordan doesn't give halves, so it wouldn't be a fair comparison. Yeah, I'm going to give him 4. He got a 6 off Jordan.
Shoosh.
He made a few important interceptions in added time when both teams were looking for a winner. Actually, I'm going to go back. Actually, I'm going to change mine. I'm going to agree with you, Jim. I'm going to give him a 5.
Okay, it's your show.
I think, like, when I'm thinking about it, as Jordan said there, yeah, he did nothing wrong, and that is a sign of when you come on as a substitute, you're obviously not first choice. You're coming on as a substitute, and you do nothing wrong. Is not a bad thing. Tibbo says 5 as well, but not his best game. You can see the boy wants to progress the ball. Prashant says 5 as well. Look, you've worn me down, guys. I've given him a 5.
There you go. Great minds think alike, and the rest of them we convince, like you.
Yes, indeed. Now Jim isn't here to blow the proverbial smoke, but Mr. Monga, when he came on.
Oh, well, you mean Wayne isn't here?
I did. I said Jim, didn't I? I apologise. Wayne isn't here to blow the proverbial smoke. Bless him, he's working.
He's listening. He said he was listening. So
yeah. Hello, Wayne.
So the child prodigy, he just wasn't on enough to really make an impact. I mean, we know when he came on, we were glad because we were like, hey, we need a goal. And you know, if he was the manga from the beginning of the season or preseason, we'd have been real excited because things would have happened. But he didn't do bad, didn't do good. I would say a 4.
A 4. Let me ask you this, Jim. Earlier in the season, when you saw Mongo warming up, like you say, you got really excited, didn't you? It was like, oh, Mongo's coming on. Now, Mongo's coming on. Really?
Yeah.
Now, whether that's down to the fact of he was so good before and he can't, I mean, when you...
Who you froze?
When it's like with like we said earlier with Jay, I froze. I'm back.
Yeah, you're good. You're good.
Am I working? I'm back. Yeah. We said it earlier with James. When you're playing to such high standards, then when you don't put managed to do one of those games, it stands out like a sore thumb. And I'm just wondering if this is Cifuentes dragging it out of him. Because, like I say, these managers can take these players and completely take the skill out of them and just turn them into an average sort of player. And I wonder if Cifuentes is doing this.
He might be, because the only thing I would say is we didn't have a real big set amount of time that he played. I'm trying to grasp for words, but he didn't have a lot to really show early. We saw the potential. We saw the miraculous preseason goals. So it was the potential and stuff that got us excited. He didn't really have a whole big subset of time for us to say, oh my God, he was good for 10 straight games. Because he really wasn't getting a lot of playing time. But yeah, I am concerned too that it's been zapped out of him one way or another.
And why do we keep insisting on playing him on the wing? His preferred role is the number 10. Let's put, Silko Thomas on the wing. Let's put Monga in that, let's all right, we've got this Pedro Monga. I suppose we're sort of spoilt there, aren't we? But yeah. If I've got him as a number 10, I am thinking he's just going to cause so much havoc, and that's what we want. I'm sorry, I'm down to giving him a 3 on that one.
And Chris, before we leave him, another thought is what he would do. He'd give us another player that is not afraid to get into the box. Okay. If you have him as a 10, he's not afraid to get in the box. And that's the one thing we haven't seen. Our wingers aren't getting the ball there, but God forbid, should they get one there, we got to get somebody that's there.
Yes. Here's the other thing as well. I was saying about playing a 3-5-2. If my 2 up front, if Jake Evans was my number 9, he would be just behind the striker.
Yeah.
Right. So, but he got a 5 off Jordan,
and he got a 3 off you. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know how Jordan could give him a 5. He really didn't do anything.
Like you say, it was okay. Why? I didn't know he was on. I'm going to go first with this one. We're going to mark Marty. Now, Jordan doesn't mark Marty.
Oh, geez.
I think this. There's a lot of me, and I said this last night on the post match. There's a lot of me that says this isn't his squad. He needs time, to get his own players in, and we can't keep swapping managers. But this guy is like Pluto without the playing pieces, because he's got no clue. He's just got the dough. See what I did there? Yeah, I don't get why was there only 3 substitutions made? He didn't make a substitution apart from for injury until the 78th minute. We'd been down. We'd conceded 15 minutes almost before that. It took him 15 minutes to think, I'm going to make a change now. This guy needs to go back to Barcelona or wherever he is, put another, prawn in his paella and just eat himself into retirement. The guy got it all wrong yesterday. And I know a little bit of him, it wasn't his fault because Skip and Jordan James went off injured. But everything else he did absolutely wrong. 5 substitutes and we're 1-0 down. Doesn't make a change apart from the 2 for the injured players. And then he had to do like for like, in fairness. He gets a 1, and he only gets that 1 because 2 of those, he lost his 2 main, the big 2 defensive midfielders. So he does get 1. And Clibbo agrees with me as well.
Well, I actually had him, I was going to give him a 9, but
No, you fucking weren't. No, you weren't.
No, I just would never be invited back again.
No, he's not coming back on the channel. Anybody that's watching
No, you're absolutely right. I mean, I gave him I gave him a 2, and he's lucky. I gave him a 2 because he did the starting lineup he put out there. We were fairly happy with the change with having, granted, he had to do it with Nelson, etc. And the fact that I heard he actually told Vestergaard to get up and score the equalizer. So I think by him knowing he was going to do that and him telling Vestergaard, I gave him a 2. No, I'm kidding. He was worthless. I'll give him a 1. I've just changed it.
I've written 2 down now.
No, we'll scratch it. Hey, listen, you've changed 3 of yours because I wrote them up. I had to scratch them out. I think the key that I think he's in that 1 and 2 category is his reluctance to make the changes when they need to be, not just substitutions, but formations, players, timings. It's just so off. He gets decent team sheets at times, but then as the game goes, he doesn't react to it. And that's poor management.
No, it is. I'm going to say, where the hell did you read about him telling Vestergaard to go up? I thought right. Yeah, I'm sorry. I know if we change him, the new guy will be our 10th manager in 10 years. It's silly, but we just don't get it right, Right, team rating. So on the night, or last night, you went. You went 6.
Wow, what was I drinking? Your cider?
Oh, I think you must have been, Jim. But you went 6 for the team rating, which was the highest of anybody on the show.
Yeah, I know. And I don't want to be the candy man giving that out. I do give a lot to the players that they didn't give up. I was on the rant yesterday that the players didn't give up, and I don't think they did. I think they dealt with the loss of 2 key players. They dealt with Marty's inability to substitute the right players at the right time. He didn't read Sir Alex's book about throwing your players up to get a goal. Wow. I'll stick with it. I can't. I would be a 5 or a 6 in my mind, but for the effort of the crap that he put on the pitch, they didn't give up. And I'll stick with that. I can live with it.
Prashant agrees with you. Prashant's gone 6 as well.
Good. I thought Prashant, brilliant.
I went 4.
Yeah.
Because it was okay in the first half. But I do agree. Clibo's agreed with me. He went 4. And I did go 4 last night. We're not changing because I've got them written down here for my notes last night. But Alan, who's at the match and who gives the official rating. And the sad thing is that Alan wanted to give up doing that for me because of the abuse he was getting online.
Wow.
Which is why I've known Alan years. He's a lovely, lovely guy. He's very much one of the senior fans, if you like. But I think it was awful. And he said, I don't need the hassle. And I said, totally, I agree. I said, I've stopped linking you. I've just put your name. I used to tag him, if you like. But I said, I've stopped doing that this season and the end of last season. I said, but what I'm going to do is, if you still want to do it, because he loves doing it, I said, I'll just do it online. And this is why I no longer do the rating and the man of the match, because he just got hassled. Because people can't come on and go, no, I don't agree with you. I think this should have been the man of the match. It's the abusive way that they said. So, I think that kind of sums up the fan base and, fans and social media in general, unfortunately. But he went for 2.
Holy.
He actually went for 3, but then messaged me afterwards and said, "Can I reduce it to 2, please?" And I hadn't read it out, so I allowed that. So he went for a 2. I'm sorry, there was just no fight. It was
I don't, and you're right. We all have opinions. I understand the 4s. Maybe as low as a 5, but we got a point. And you know what? Sometimes I'd rather be lucky than good. And I think that, in my opinion, the players didn't give up. And for what they were fed with, for what the crap that they are as a team, they didn't give up. And I'm just glad we got a point. Here's that for a point.
No, I agree with what you're saying. And the thing, all I'll say with Alan is Alan sees what goes on off camera. You know, when we're watching a game, we see it, and we just see that little bit that the camera's focused on. He sees the whole pitch. So he might see, for example, Sumare not running back, you know, or so he sees things that we necessarily don't. But it is about opinions. It is. And I'd originally thought 5, and I dropped it to 4. And in fairness, Tom went 2 as well, and Wayne went 5. Look, we know who we went for man of the match. You went Ockerley, was it? I'm not sure who that was. And I went Nelson, but I understand totally why you went Ockerley. God, I could get out of my head now. And the official man of the match for us from Alan was Coley, you know. And I can't argue with that, you know. It's not like I've gone for AU or somebody as man of the match. Coley, like I said, was in the bag to be pulled out. Interestingly, I'm just going to get up the on the BBC. They fans can go in and vote. The highest, the man of the match was Okunwo for Wrexham, and he got a 6. In fact, what I'm going to say is I don't believe that any Wrexham fan actually voted, because every single one person has voted, because every single player has got 6, and it's Okunwo is initial is A. Okunwo, and he is top because it's alphabetical order. So one person has voted there and given everybody a 6. Our top player, oh my God,
Vestergaard.
No,
Oh.
I wouldn't have minded if it had been Vestergaard. Our highest rated player. Sorry,
don't say Ricky P.
No. I don't think any of our fans were that drunk. Our best player, according to the fans that voted, was Mavadidi.
Wow.
Second, actually our joint topic, because they both got 5.75. Again, I don't think a lot of people were voting. Was Monga.
Yeah, and then I would question both the Wrexham one fan and ours that voted. Because Mavadidi, okay, maybe he at least played a while, but Monga was just on a short spell.
Yeah. Wow. Nelson was third.
Yeah.
But in fairness, he got the same score as Skip. They both got 5s. Ockerley, I've got him in mind now. Oh. Coley got a 3.5.
Jesus.
And the 3 lowest players who all got 2.6. AU just got 2.8, so he wasn't quite in the bottom 3. 3 2.6s was Chowdhury, Stolarczyk, and Ricardo. But I think it's a case of there weren't many votes in there, if I'm honest with you. Guys, look, do go and check this out as well if you haven't already. It is a really good show. We had Stefan Borson on, who his job is football finances. And I've got to say, everybody that was going like, oh, he doesn't know what he's talking about, and he's got this wrong, he's got that wrong. Yeah, you go off to your painting job, your sales job, whatever. You know about football finances. Obviously, he doesn't. I mean, come on. He knows a lot more than the average fan. So, yeah, and again, that's something that things. But it's got 16,500 views. Did the tweet about it. So go and check it on. It's about 35 minutes because he did give up his time during his work day. And and he was talking about PSR, and he knew that. He says that we will probably get done for this season as well as last season, because obviously last season's the one we're looking about. But yeah, I just think, if anybody's going to come on and go, he doesn't know what he's talking about, at least come and say that you're an accountant or something like that, So, but that's fans for you. It's on the YouTube account. It's actually pinned. I pinned it to the top. And there's a lot of views for an afternoon show, I've got to tell you. I'm going to leave you with that image because I think it kind of just, I know, yeah, exactly. Them pesky kids had got away for it. Got away with it if it wasn't for them pesky kids. But yeah, to me.
Do you think I'm worried that one time you're going to do this and it's Tom under there? Or Brad? Or Brad?
Hey, it'd be even worse. It could be Clibbo.
Oh, no.
Hi, Clibbo. How you doing, mate? Hey, I do that. It could be Top under here.
Oh, no.
I know. Of course it wouldn't. If I was Top, I'd be in Thailand playing polo. But there we go. Thank you very much, Jim, for coming on. It was a very short notice, so I do appreciate it. Great show, and we'll be back on Saturday. We're doing it all again for Oxford. We're back tomorrow night at 7. Brad's going to be doing the prediction show at 9. We've got the preview show with a mate of mine who's an Oxford fan. And he was up. He goes from the south coast to Oxford all the time to watch them, and then obviously on the Saturday at 2:00 we'll be doing the watch along, and Jim will be joining us post match and giving us his thoughts on Stelarczyk.
There you go, or whoever,
if he's picked,
or whoever. All right, let's go eat boxes. Let's take it Oxford on Saturday.
Oxford on Saturday. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank everybody that's been in the chat. And if you've been listening to this via your favourite podcast platform, whatever that is, thank you for lending me your ears. I'll see you tomorrow. Good night, Jim. Good night, everybody.
Good night, Chris.
Thanks for watching. These videos are tremendous. You better like them too, or I'll be back.
This podcast is proud to be part of the TalkSport Fan Network.
TalkSport. Powered by fans.
That will conclude this evening's entertainment.